This is an intermediate to advanced reformer workout. If you come to an exercise that's not right for you, leave it out, please. Stand in Pilates V stance. Press fingertips to elbows and lengthen your spine in 2 directions, anchoring your feet into the floor. Keep the lift as you sit down on the very end of your reformer carriage and lie down, aiming your head for the headrest. Pilates V stance for the first 10 reps of your footwork. Keep squeezing the heels as you press the center back of your pelvis into the carriage. Try to think of your pelvis as being the source of the movement. Straighten your legs all the way out and return all the way until you hear the carriage click. Continue to inhale and exhale and reach out of the crown of your head. Lengthen out of your sitting bones, keeping the glutes engaged. Arches. Wrap your toes and your heels towards each other over the bar. Keep your heels together and engage the inner thighs. Straighten your knees all the way. Press out and in and out and in. Try to really feel like the center back of your pelvis is the source of the movement, pushing down actively through those areas. Heels. Keep the heels squeezing together and do your best to keep the big toes together and the knees together. Lengthen your spine in 2 directions. Inhale out, exhale, return. Inhale out, exhale, return. Inhale out, exhale, return. Keep anchoring your tailbone. Heels lower and lift. Down, 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 up, up, up. Down, 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 up, up, up. Exhale as you reach your heels under the bar. Inhale as you lift your heels. 10 full reps, and then you're going to get ready for the 100. Feel the stretch here in the back of your calves. Lower the bar with your feet and lengthen your legs onto the bar. Hands in the handles and keep the handles parallel with the floor as you come into position. Reach out of your sitting bones, inhaling for 5 counts and exhaling for 5 counts for a full 100. Keep squeezing the heels together, and if you feel like your low back is starting to feel tight, you can lift your legs higher, and you can either lower the feet to the bar and press into the bar with your feet. Listen to your body and make sure that you're feeling your abs and lifting your chest actively from your sternum. You should feel like there is no tension in your neck as you roll your shoulders back and down comfortably. Prepare for short spine massage. Lower to 2 springs and thread the handles with the leather straps. Bring your feet to the leather straps simultaneously and then anchor your tailbone to begin. Starting from a frog position, take a big inhale, then exhale, press your legs out and up over your head. This is the short spine control. You're going to keep your heels and your seat together as you lower down through the spine. Feel the stretch in your low back as you press actively down with your triceps to open your chest. We're doing 3 short spine controls. And now we're going to do 3 short spine massage. So on this one, you're going to leave the heels in the air and lower down as much as you can. Then bring the heels to your seat without letting your hips come up. Coordination. Put your hands in the handles and level your elbows next to your hips. Inhale out. Hold the breath as you open and close the legs, and then exhale as you pull the knees in towards your nose. Still reaching the sitting bones away from your center as you bend your knees. Cross the legs 8 times, squeeze the heels, and pull the knees in. Inhale out, hold the breath, then cross the legs 8 times, then squeeze the air out as you bring the knees in. Tease her up and get ready for rowing. Lowering to one spring. Then you're going to send the legs through the shoulder blocks and have about a hand's width behind your sacrum on the carriage. Focus on making this a back exercise. It's not about the arms. You're going to connect your abdominals to your back, and then try not to let the carriage lurch as you round your arms for a stretch. Pull the tummy back and restack the spine one bone at a time. Pull the tummy back as you reach the arms forward, and then concentrate on lifting your chest as you come back to the starting position. For the next 3 reps, you're going to go to a 90-degree angle at the elbow and the shoulder, and again, focusing on the back doing the work. Pull the tummy back as you sweep the arms behind you, restacking the spine one bone at a time. Roll the shoulders back. Expand the rib cage and then restack the spine. One more. Inhale back. Exhale, lift. Reach forward and backward. Up and around in a safe range of motion. Rowing 3. Now you're going to sit forward and do from the chest. So elbows are going to be right next to your waist. Then you're going to lift from your low back and your abs. This is not an arm exercise. Once again, we're focusing on the trunk of the body and anchoring through the sitting bones to lengthen your spine. Then working from as low on your back and your abs as you possibly can. One more of these. Open the chest. From the hips, you're going to round your spine and reach forward towards your heels. Then straighten up, keeping your arms right next to your ears. One more of these. Cross your legs and do shaving. Open the chest and keep your elbows in your peripheral vision, moving from your shoulder blades. Keep pulling your ribs back and engaging your core. You can let the knees come up a little bit to keep the low back engaged. Cross the legs in the other direction, and we're hugging our tree now. So bend the elbows and keep your hands straight, slightly below the elbows so that you feel your triceps in the back of your armpits, meaning the lats. Now setting up for long box, and then we'll walk over to the ladder barrel for the swan dive. For the long box, you're going to be on one spring. If you don't have a ladder barrel, you can do the swan on the mat or the box. Round over the barrel and press your heels actively into the ladder. Then reach out of your fingertips and do a back bend. Then shoot your legs straight out and then do another back bend. Opening the arms to the side, keeping the fingertips in your peripheral. Then lift your belly to lower down to the starting position. And again, inhale up. Exhale forward and shoot the legs out, opening the chest as the arms come to the side. Pick up the abdominals to lower to the barrel. One more. Inhale, reach from your seat. Use your tummy to keep the spine long here. Arms wide, but not too wide. You want to keep your fingertips in your peripheral vision. Little stretch. And then head back over to the reformer for pulling straps. Try to lower to the box without moving the carriage. Your face is directly above the headrest. Engage the glutes and reach from your hips away from your center. Make this a back exercise. I think you may see a theme here. This is not an arm exercise, and you're trying to keep your head in line with your spine. Make sure that you don't arch the neck, and try to feel the work right below your shoulder blades. Press the pubic symphysis down into the box and make sure that the glutes are working to keep your pelvis level. T-arms. Try to keep the open shoulder in an externally rotated position, keeping your palms aiming down to the floor. Imagine that you're holding a wine glass sideways and you don't want to spill your wine. Backstroke. Have your tailbone hanging off the box, and again, try not to move the box or the carriage as you get into position. Inhale up. Exhale, circle the arms and legs, and keep your chest very high as you return to the starting position. One more in this direction. We're doing 3 in each direction. And reach open and go to the vertical position with the arms and legs, and then back down. Inhale, reach. Exhale, up and around. Imagine you're swimming through the water and you don't want to sink. Take a spring off and get ready for the teaser. Engage the glutes in the core. Press a little bit into the handle so there's no slack on the straps. And then come right up into your teaser. Try to keep your torso very still as you lift and lower the arms. Up for the circles. We're doing 3 circles in one direction. Then lower down, come back up, and then do 3 circles in the other direction. Again, trying to keep your torso very still. Put the handles in the well and prepare to do the long stretch sequence. Lift the headrest in the bar and make sure that you're on 2 springs. Keep your legs straight as you get into position. Imagine your body is like a long piece of steel. Keep your chest open, and we're going to do 4 of these with 2 springs. Make sure the glutes are working and that your heels are lifted. Come all the way in and then press all the way out. Bring the carriage in, then lunge forward and take 1 spring off. Be aware that you're not going to go as far. Make sure that you maintain control of the carriage. If this doesn't feel right for your body, just continue to do more reps with 2 springs. We're doing 4 with 1 spring. Lower to your knees and add a spring for the down stretch. Press your heels into the shoulder blocks and reach your pubic bone forward. Chest open and forward the whole time. And remember not to bend at the neck. You want to keep the head as an extension of your spine. Find the lower abdominals, and again, try to reach your pubic bone forward. Up stretches next. Pull the carriage in and lift your heels halfway up the shoulder blocks. Keep your wrists neutral, and then shoot the legs out from the hips. Round right underneath where your sternum is to come into the carriage resting position. Then pike the hips. Make sure not to pike the hips until you're all the way in with the carriage. Now for elephant, anchor your heels and make sure the heels don't come off. Keep rolling your shoulders back so that the shoulders are not up in your ears. We're doing 4 basic elephants, then 1 with the leg up. And then we're going to do with half heel and then all the way on the top of these shoulder blocks. If those variations are not right for you, you can just maintain whichever variation that is best for your body. With all of the single leg versions, you're going to keep the hips as level as possible. Try not to rotate your pelvis on this one. Major inner thighs as the toes are on the very top of the shoulder blocks. If you're not able to move the carriage in and out, just hold the position and focus on working those inner thighs until you're able to move the carriage. You may have one side that's better than the other, of course. Long back stretch. Really dig those heels underneath the shoulder blocks and roll your shoulders back, making sure not to shrug your shoulders as you lower towards the springs. Again, making this also a pelvic movement. You're dropping your sitting bones and then scooping forward through the pelvis. Also stabilizing underneath the shoulder blades. 3 in each direction. Stepping off and preparing for stomach massage. Put your pad at the very front end of the carriage. Sit down as close to the front edge of the carriage and position your feet in Pilates V-stance on the bar. Pull firmly against the front of the carriage and bend your elbows wide. Push again with your pelvis and make sure to keep your feet pressing into the bar. If your reformer is on a smooth surface, you may notice that the carriage will move. If that happens, keep pushing actively into the balls of your feet, and that will fix this. Take off a center spring and bring your arms to the back simultaneously. Stretch your heels below the bar. Try to get full range of motion with your ankles. Lift your chest and lengthen your spine out of the crown of your head as you anchor your sitting bones into the carriage. Take off another center spring and have the arms reaching up by the ears. No more heel lower and lift. You're just going out on 1 and in on 2. Again, pushing from the back of your pelvis and your abs. Now rotate, keeping the back arm in your peripheral vision. You're taking your gaze towards the back hand as you rotate your chest. Make sure to feel the stretch in your rib cage. Keep pulling your tummy in and up and reaching out of the crown of your head as you anchor your sitting bones into the carriage. Little stretch at the end. You can put your hands by your feet and push your pelvis backward. Tendon stretch. Careful on this one. You may need a spotter if this is something that you haven't already done. Find a spotter and skip this one for now. Push your hands firmly into the bar and drop your heels in towards the springs. Make sure that your upper abs are working such that your chest and your thighs are reaching towards each other. Try not to let your hips come behind the bar. We're doing 4 regular and then a few reps with the single leg variations. Make sure on this one with the single leg that you're bringing the carriage all the way in and that you're in total control of the carriage. Then lift the the leg backward and keep the glutes engaged so that you don't lower the leg. Again, you're probably going to have one side that works and maybe the other side not so much, as you'll see. Keep that lifted leg as high as possible, and again, make sure to bring the carriage all the way in. Sending the leg backward. And I lost it on that one. Something to work on. Now for the short box. Put the short box over the shoulder blocks between the eye bolts and the shoulder blocks. Get your bar and put it underneath your legs. Make sure that your ankles are firmly pressing up into the strap and that you're not touching any metal with your feet. Cross over your abdominals and keep your spine very long and rounded at your lumbar spine. Press your sitting bones actively into the box as you're going back and forth, maintaining the shape of your spine. Roll your shoulders back And if this hurts your low back to lower your head towards the floor, just leave that out and just do the ones where you're going back and forward. Flat back. Now you're reaching the bar as high as you can towards the ceiling. Keep your ears right between your biceps. And make sure to keep your glutes engaged. Side to side. Try to anchor the opposite hip from the direction that you're going to lengthen both sides of your waist. Rotate. Try to pull the opposite hip backwards from the direction that your chest is going. This will maintain stability through the hips. Now you're going to rotate and lean, one in each direction before we do around the world. Now inhale, rotate, lean back, go to a flat back, rotate, and come back up. You're trying to lengthen both sides of your body the whole time. Reach forward for a stretch, and then prepare for climb a tree. Scooch back so that your ankle is firmly pressing up into the strap. So there's no slack on the strap as you do the 3 kicks. Then climb to the ankle and bring your head to your knee. Then lean back. Keep your hip anchored and the femur bone pressing into the back of your hip for stability. Then roll backward and maintain the control through your core as you come forward. Come to a flat back as you pull your thighs close to your chest as you can before you do another one. Bigger stretch on this one if that's available to you. Now all the way back. And then you can put your hands on the floor for leg circles. If this is not right for you and you're not able to do the inversion, just come back up and stretch forward before going to the second side. We're just doing 3 circles in either direction. Hands back on the thigh, lift the head first and then peel the rest of the spine up. Cross one leg over the other for a stretch and then we'll go to the second side. Keep your hips very still and stable and centered as you kick the leg for 3 times. Then climb to the ankle, head to the knee, and then lean back with control. Make sure your abs are engaged the entire time. For an added challenge, you can try it without holding onto your leg, and that would be all abs minus the stretching of the hamstrings. And for the third one, we'll do the leg circles again. Leave that out if you need to. 3 circles in one direction and 3 circles in the other direction. You can push your hands actively into the floor to engage your upper back muscles. Hands back on the thigh, then head up and then round forward through the spine, one bone at a time. Side sit-ups. For this variation today, we're going to have the ankle directly over the springs, and the strap will be vertically positioned directly above the springs. Keep the hips very stable and reach the bottom elbow towards the back of the reformer frame. Little stretch and then switch sides. Keep reaching out of the heel that is in the strap. It's a 2-directional stretch all the way out of the crown of the head towards the back of the room, and the heel is going the opposite direction towards the other side of the room. Little side bend to counter stretch, and then we're all done with short box. You can take the box off, and we will prepare for the overhead. You're going to pick up your handles from your straps and lie back down on the carriage with 2 springs. Lengthen your legs on the bar and make sure that your shoulders are not jammed into the shoulder blocks. Then engage your back and reach the arms up in the opposite direction. Squeeze the heels together, then press the arms down and lift the hips, lengthening the spine. Reach the toes to the ceiling and lower with control. And again. Focus on the tricep action as you push the arms down into the carriage to keep the chest open. Keep the glutes engaged to get the hips as high as you possibly can and to lower with as much control as you possibly can. Semicircle. For today, I'm doing the semicircle with parallel feet, and I'm going to try to keep the heels off of the frame as I lower down through the spine. And try not to move the carriage as you lift the hips back up. Articulate and reach the knees towards the springs as you return the carriage. We're doing 3 in one direction. Push from the hips to reverse the direction. And make sure your seat is all the way into the springs before you return the carriage. For a little practice, I like to extend the carriage and then just keep it in the same position as I go up and down. You can try this variation and see if you can keep the carriage very still on this. Then return. Little stretch as you try to grab your ankles or the sides of your bar. Chest expansion. I'm doing this with 2 springs. If you need an additional challenge, try it on 1 spring. Hook the feet over the front of the carriage and reach your pelvis forward as you come to a straight spine or naturally curved spine. Work from your back as you bring the straps towards your hips. Keep the chest open and your core is engaged. Make sure that your thorax is completely stable before you turn the head. You don't want to put tension on your neck. Then you're going to add a spring for the thigh stretch. Walk your knees all the way to the shoulder blocks and put your thumb on the little divots on your straps. Keep your back naturally curved as you lean backwards. Keep the glutes engaged. And make sure to keep the upper abs engaged so that your ribs do not pop forward. Keep trying to roll your shoulders back and maintain the naturally curved spine. Little back bend at the end. Chin to the chest before you come all the way back up. Now for arm circles, you're going to lower to 1 center spring and press your heels actively into the shoulder blocks. Careful for this one. Make sure you have a spotter if this is your first couple of times doing this. Keep your trunk very still as you draw appropriately sized circles for your body. 3 in each direction. Keep your chest open and your shoulders back. Long spine control. We're putting the feet in the handles. Anchor the tailbone and then press your legs up and away from your center, keeping the glutes engaged. Then you're going to press up through the legs without moving the carriage. Open the legs and lower with control. Then circle the legs and come back to the starting position. We'll do 3 of these in each direction. Again, focusing on keeping the carriage very still as you elevate and lower the legs. This is just a different variation. You can, of course, do it with the extension straps, which is standard. Now for frogs, focus on symmetry on this one. Press evenly through both hips and roll your shoulders back. Keep the triceps engaged and your trunk stable. Have the trajectory of the straps directly above the shoulder blocks. Right into circles. Keep the glutes and hamstrings engaged on the circles. Again, reaching the feet into the handles with even pressure the whole time. Same speed, same distance. Other direction. Lose your straps and prepare for the knee stretches. Keeping it on 2 center springs, lift your bar. Press your heels into the shoulder blocks and keep your wrists neutral and your arms straight. Try to keep your arms in the same position the whole time throughout the round back variation and the arched back position. Here we're trying to maintain the natural curves of the spine, pushing from the hips and pulling back in with the stomach. Knees off. Try to feel your upper abdominals and your lower abdominals. And try to keep your knees as low as possible without touching them on the carriage. Roll your shoulders back. And make sure to come all the way in and out with the carriage. Running is next. Make sure that you're in the center of the carriage. Put all 10 toes on the bar with parallel feet. And then go right into your running. Focus here on anchoring the pelvis evenly with both sides of your abdominals into the deep core musculature and the inner thighs and pelvic floor. Keep reaching out of the crown of your head and anchoring your triceps. Pelvic press. Put your heels on the corners of the bar. Lift your hips. Try to keep your pelvis parallel with the floor. In other words, you're not tucking the pelvis in this position. You're keeping it neutral. All the way in and out. Make sure that you feel the carriage click as you come all the way back in. You can imagine that you're pulling your feet towards each other, even though they're not moving. This will help you engage the inner thighs for this exercise. Prepare for the side splits. You're going to put a pad underneath the bar on the frame in line with one of the shoulder blocks. Then stand on the center of your carriage and place your foot on the stable part of the reformer on the frame. Then Susie Q the other foot out to the side as far as you can with control. In an ideal scenario, you would have the foot all the way touching the shoulder block, and then you're coming all the way out and all the way in until the carriage clicks. We're only doing 3 today, but you can do up to 6 or 10 on this one. You may also want to have a spotter for this exercise the first several times that you do it. Keep reaching the arms in 2 directions and lifting your abdominals. Keep reaching the crown of your head towards the ceiling as you're going out and in with the reformer. Prepare for the front splits. We're going to be on 2 springs with the bar up. Kneel on the carriage and press your feet into the shoulder blocks, keeping your hands on the bar. Bring one foot to the bar and then push back with the back leg. Return the carriage with the front leg. Try to keep your hips very level on this exercise. In other words, the hip of the lifted leg is not hiking up towards your waist. So here I'm trying to lengthen the left sitting bone down towards the opposite foot. Then bring the carriage in and add a side bend. So the same arm of the back leg side will lift up, and then you're going to rotate back and look at your hand. Other leg. Now on this side, I'm going to try to anchor the right hip down towards the opposite foot, pushing back with the left foot and returning the carriage with the right knee. You're trying to keep the hip crease open on the back leg side. Add your side bend and then your rotation. Thanks for joining me today. Let me know if you have any questions.